Hello, and welcome to the Marvel Movies Panel Discussion and Review. We are back for another Spider-Man film, this time The Amazing Spider-Man 2, joined by the usual crew, Callum.
Alright.
And Anthony.
Yo, yo.
Patreon.com/Genesis of Androzani if you'd like to contribute to the channel. Early access, exclusive access, and requests. Twitter.com/Giandrozani if you'd like to get in contact or see what we've been discussing or what I've been discussing. I have to tell myself to always refer to myself as I if it's Twitter, because I used to say we, but then I did a video with Adam where I said we. He's like, no, it's just you, it's not me. so there you go. But yes, what I have been talking about, usually shit stirring, but yes, anyway. So that's that. And I will be eating a nice, delicious pizza tonight because that's what's going on. Of course, fittingly, it is to reviewing a Spider-Man film, which, you know, not this one, but the other ones are more, you know, connected to pizza. I would especially the best one.
Yeah.
So yes, with that out the way, who wants to go first with their initial reaction?
I think it'd be fitting for Anthony to go first, since considering his profile picture.
Okay.
Oh yes.
So, right. So, this movie, Amazing Spider-Man 2, is the one movie out of all the Spider-Man films that we've ever gotten that I feel make Spider-Man fans not feel proud to be Spider-Man fans. And there's many reasons for it. The overarching one is because it is not a good movie in any sense at all.
All right, very brief and straight to the point.
Very.
But I suppose you're saving your delicious details for the meat of the review.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. That's a very contained words from you. Callum, your turn.
Right. First of all, this is straight up. This is not a Spider-Man film. This is not a Spider-Man film. This is a romantic mess of a film. I don't know what the plot of this film is. I don't know what the main focus is meant to be. And the actual characters, every single character, every main character, including the villains, seems so up and down all around in a mess blender that you call a Amazing Spider-Man 2 in the film. This film, because I've literally just watched it, like 5 minutes ago, I just finished watching it, and I could not tell you what the main plot of this film is or what the actual main overarching focus of this film was. It is a mess from start to finish, and it just doesn't feel like a Spider-Man film at all. There's Spider-Man in it, but it doesn't feel like that this would be in any other Spider-Man universe at all. It's just a complete mess.
Yep. So I hadn't seen this film before because I mean I'd seen all the other ones that we've reviewed so far before, all the other Spider-Man films, apart from obviously the I think Civil War and Endgame. Apart from those, obviously, because I hadn't seen those, but
Yeah.
because you know I hadn't watched the MCU properly, so I hadn't seen Civil War, and Endgame was new when it came out. So, but in terms of the solo Spider-Man films, this is the only one that I hadn't seen going into it. So, whilst I knew details about it from what I'd heard, I hadn't actually seen the film for myself. So with that, I always say to myself, I'm going to go in with an open mind. You know, sometimes these things happen. Sometimes I like films that people don't like. Sometimes I don't like films that people like. So I was willing to give it a chance. But no, I hate this film. It's terrible. I mean, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but it's irredeemable. It's just absolutely horrible. And it was one of the films that we've watched so far where I had to watch the first hour yesterday and then the second hour today. And even then, like in the second hour, I was up and about, like I was shaving and I was just doing my thing with it in the background because I did not care about it at all. It was unbearable. And there's a lot of problems, like even comparable to the last one we reviewed. This one has even more problems. Some of the redeemable qualities I had about the last one, I think, are actually worse in this one. And another thing I said about the last one was that I could see from a certain circle of people that go to see movies, like I was talking about like lowest common denominator moviegoers. I feel like even for that group, this film would still be a failure. So, yes, absolutely terrible. And that's all I probably should say at this point. I mean, I sort of expected that, but I was holding out hope, but it was squashed.
You would have never known how bad until you like actually saw it, and now you do.
Yeah, I suppose that proves our friend right, James. Anthony, who said that I can't have opinion until I see something.
Oh well.
But
So.
that same person says that Andrew Garfield's the best Spider-Man, so he's wrong about everything.
He's a fool.
Okay, so I guess we shall start with the first character, which is Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. Let's go Callum first.
Right. Oh God. Andrew Garfield's performance as Spider-Man is so goddamn odd. I don't know how to feel about it at all. I don't know what his arc is meant to be at all. Is it him trying to discover who his father really was? Is it him struggling with breaking a promise about being with Gwen Stacy? Is it him trying to protect Harry? Is it him trying to take care of Aunt May? I could not tell you. It's just I don't see this in this film alone. I do not see Peter Parker as Peter Parker. He seems like a completely different character to any other depiction of Spider-Man I've seen. It's just so, like I keep saying, it's all over the place. His performance alone is just so odd. I don't like how Andrew Garfield performs as Spider-Man in this film. It's not too far different from The Amazing Spider-Man, but in that film, it seemed like he had more of a straight head. In this film, Peter Parker seems like he's going insane, especially in like the first half an hour. God, every time he sees Captain Stacy, I just have my hand on my face and like, what the hell is this? This is a Spider-Man film. Why is he having imaginary things about Captain Stacy? Ugh.
You know, in the first bit where like the graduation scene happens and he like catches up with Gwen, I got very painful flashbacks to Edward Cullen from Twilight. I was like, really? Are they doing this kind of character? Like psychopath boyfriend, crazy lunatic. Just I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I really don't understand what we're going for. I generally don't like in this film the whole thing, because the end of the first film they explain how in the first place that after Captain Stacy dies, Peter is then like, okay, I made a promise not to be with Gwen, but then he breaks that at the end of the film. But then the start of this film, he then goes back on that again and gets broken up by Gwen. They had made a whole point when like Gwen broke up with him, and I don't understand why. I don't understand why they had this whole plot of them drifting apart, and then they realized that no, I'm just no. It feels like this.
I hate the scene on the bridge. I hate it. I wanted to. Oh, it was boil my blood how cheesy it was.
We all said how we thought like the best part of the last film was the chemistry between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. And while the chemistry is still there, it's written extremely shit. The writing
I'm
between
telling
them,
you, dude, it's cause they were just like, they were going out at the time. They're like, oh, just do cute shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
What
okay.
I mean, like the actual. What I mean is like the actual plot of what beat by beat plot of what they had them do was awful.
Yeah.
It is awful. I don't like it at all. They should have just had, if they wanted to do this, even though they didn't do the Amazing Spider-Man 3, this is sort of something that I would expect from another film, not this film. When this is meant to be about Electro, Harry Osborn dying, Peter learning about his father. That's already 3 major plots in this film, but now they're adding on the whole Gwen going to England thing, but also / them breaking up and stuff like that. It's
Don't forget the Rhino.
They managed to top Spider-Man 3 for just ridiculousness.
Yeah. People, I cannot understand how people can think that this film is better than Spider-Man 3, because at least with Spider-Man 3, it is entertaining. You can laugh at it and you can have a good time with it. With this, there's nothing remotely entertaining about it other than it has Spider-Man in it.
Oh yeah, now let's put this in perspective. Now Spider-Man 3, obviously we went through, there was a lot of problems, but after watching Spider-Man 2, I watched Spider-Man 3 straight after, because I knew I was again, Spider-Man 2 was so great that I was pumped to watch the next one, and also I watched Spider-Man 3 all the way through because it was very entertaining. But with these 2 films, especially this one, I've dragged it out as far as I can because I just dread watching them.
Yeah, I was dreading watching this film.
Yeah.
That's why I watched it at the last minute, because I really didn't want to watch the film. I was just so, do I have to watch this? Do I have to watch this? Which I know is going to be a piece of shit.
Yeah, and like this film is so bad that I've never heard, like, unless you bring it up in a conversation, no one talks about it. It's so forgotten.
No, it's common in I'm gonna say like Spider-Man culture, air quotes there. This film is like the Batman Forever of all of it. It's kind of the one.
I would argue Batman and Robin is the worst one of the 2.
Worse? Well, this is. The
I would say Batman Forever is more like Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Okay.
Well, or maybe maybe it's more like Spider-Man 3 because it's quite funny. But I get what you're saying. It's the one we don't talk about.
Yeah, it's the film that everyone's like, oh, that one's the shit one. Don't worry. Like, don't ever, don't bring it up. Don't do anything with it. Just fucking leave it in the rubbish.
Yeah, because again, like you said, unlike Spider-Man 3, this one is not entertaining in the slightest.
It's not. Yeah. It's really not entertaining at all.
Like, there's nothing. All the boring parts of the first one.
Mm-hmm. The only part where I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, is when they did the slow motion shots of Spider-Man swinging through the city. They did it 3 times, I think, or twice, and they did one in the last film. That's the only time I'm like, that was pretty cool, and then that's it.
Like, I once again, I have a list of things, of scenes that I liked. The first one is the beginning shot of him falling, and it's like great. It has the symbol, and then it pans out. Mm-hmm. That's like really cool. I like that one. Yeah. The montage of him after he...
Just remember, that's not actually the beginning of the film. But
no, the beginning of the film is something so out of left field.
The beginning of the film, you're kind of like, wait, what the fuck is this? Like, it's almost like a James Bond film. You're like, what the fuck is going on?
No, it's too trash to be James Bond. It felt like the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. It was weird. I was like, what is this?
It's like, and then like, oh shit! And because it starts with a good scene with him, you're like, oh shit, this film would be good. It's not. Don't even get your hopes up. It's because it doesn't get. And then after that, he's obviously chasing the Rhino. There's a couple of scenes I thought were fucking hilarious in the context of he gets on the Rhino's truck, right? And he's like, yo, you need to pull over, blah, blah. He's fucking around, right? And then you get scenes of the Rhino's truck like fucking killing people on the side of the road.
Yeah,
while
people
he's on the
died
truck,
in that scene.
Yeah, people fucking died, and he's just like, "Hey, could you wind down the window? Hey, can you stop the vehicle, please? I'll put you in jail in a couple minutes, so just stop." And he's fucking murdering people. I thought that was really funny. But obviously, it's not within the character of Spider-Man. That's not what would happen with our character, this beloved character.
Well, I mean, I guess that's one redeemable thing, because in the last film, when he was murdering people or trying to, it wasn't funny at all.
Yeah, and like now
Sad.
it's, you're just like,
what are you doing? What are you doing, Spider-Man?
And then the last one I liked was at the end when the Rhino's in the full suit and there's that little kid who's no. I liked it because of the kind of symbolism it is. It's like anyone can be Spider-Man. Like this little kid, he's a fucking nerd.
Honestly, when I saw that scene, I honestly thought they were going to pull a Last Jedi and it'd be like the kid is Spider-Man and like everyone in the city is Spider-Man.
Oh, what? No, something I referred to earlier, Connor, because we went and saw Godzilla King of Monsters. And the final shot is like Godzilla in the city and all these fucking other monsters are around him. When I said I thought they were going to do an Amazing Spider-Man 2, because it ends with him fighting the Rhino and you never see it. It's like, oh, yep, here you go. Oh, and then we're just going to go.
And as far as we know, we have no idea how that fight went down. Spider-Man could have died in that because there's no sequel.
Yeah, well, because when the trailer came out, that was in the trailer, and I remember everyone was like, "It looks really shitty CG," and I was like, "Yo, we're finally getting a fucking Rhino. Here we go, boys!" And then
that's
your
the last
boy,
shot of the film.
Yeah, your boy is like, "Hey, cut. That's the movie. Fuck you. You wanted that? No, fuck you. You get shitty Jamie Foxx, Electro, and Dane DeHaan is fucked up drug meth addict Green Goblin."
But we'll get to that.
We will get to those characters.
But yes, but talking about Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no. One more thing. So it wasn't as prevalent in the first one, but in this one, he has this weird fucking. I know it's meant to be like a Brooklyn accent, but it's very obvious that it's a fake accent, and it's just horrible.
You have no idea. Like, how much in this film his southern accent just came through randomly in scenes.
Yeah, it's
because I remember it. I remember it from other things I've seen him in. He has a southern accent. In the first film, he managed to patch it up a bit, and it did sound like New York kid. And this one, it just fell off the rails, and it was all over the place.
It's just horrible.
He's going from like Italian American to Southern to whatever. It's just like, what is going on here?
Yeah, like, Andrew Garfield's performance in this film is so. It's definitely like one of the worst performances I've seen him in. Because I think not only his accent, he just seems like the character he's portraying seems so insane. Like I said before, he just feels like a complete mess.
Well, in the first film as Spider-Man, he was like a aggressive murderer, right? Mm-hmm. But as Peter Parker, he was just a kind of cutesy skater boy kid, and like I didn't like that. But at least if you were into that, it was consistent. Whereas in this film, he's literally a psychopath. He's a horrible stalking. Like just
yeah. No, that's such
just
a
once
weird...
a day, sometimes more.
That's such a fucking odd scene. It's like, dude, that's against the law.
I find it weird that Gwen Stacy finds that endearing instead of creepy.
Yeah, like the whole. She's like, oh well, that's cute, and it's like, no, it's not. No, that's not. That's not cute.
Not.
That's frightening, to be honest.
Especially because he has superpowers. So if, say for example, he lost his mind and he started following her, there's nothing no one could ever do to stop him, like apart from an actual like big force. But if like say for example she gets to the point where she realizes that she doesn't want to be with him and he keeps following her, what happens then? Because like if she calls the police, he'll just dodge their bullets and whatnot.
It's like, well, I'm Spider-Man, so
yeah, like I'd be super scared of what could happen. Because you know he literally said in this, he's literally said, and I know the whole dialogue was just to be like, oh, we're gonna be together forever because we're in love. But like he literally said to her, I'm going to be with you for the rest of my life. It's like, what if she wants to get out of it?
Yeah.
Like
it's
literally
a two-way thing, dude. Like
they're like just out of high school. They're like kids. Like anything could happen.
Yeah.
And the only reason, like, why, like, the only excuse they could have is like, oh, well, she dies at the end. But it's like, think about her motivation in her head.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
why would you accept that?
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, well, for her, like, rest of the life, which might not be that long, because assuming she doesn't know her whole, like, role in life and all that shit, you know, she's just like, oh, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and do this. And fucking Peter's going to be stalking me the whole...
Just think about that, like, your boyfriend has the most dangerous job in the town, and if you walk away from him, he'll be even more dangerous.
He'll know. Yeah, well, he'll know where you are, and he'll be able to, like, find you and shit, so...
It's just creepy. And I hate the scene where, like, she's going to the Oxford thing, and he just... Like, it's painful to watch. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And then just like the way they try and make Peter Parker awkward in quotation marks, it just doesn't work.
No.
It feels fake.
I don't know if they actually tried to do that or not. You know. Because
I mean, to be fair,
I feel like they were like, oh, well, we have Andrew Garfield. He's pretty much a male model, so let's just throw the awkward trait out the window.
I think they did it more in the first film.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was very irritating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully he didn't do that face that I hate that much in this one.
No.
Yeah.
Do that too much this time, but he did other things that were worse. But yeah, I suppose the one thing that this film has over the first one is the suit.
Oh, the suit is bloody incredible. I love the suit.
It's much better.
Earlier in the series, we discussed like where we rank the suits. I'd actually put this one up top.
I think this is the best suit. I think.
I think part of that is
purely the suit. Like nothing else about this movie is anywhere close to any of the other movies.
Yeah, I think part of that might be the fact that it's the original comic book suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I have a thing for the big eyes as well.
Yeah.
I like the big white lenses.
Yeah. It's a vast improvement, not just because of fan service, but because the first suit was so terrible.
Yeah.
The black eyes, it was like, and to be fair, like I don't know how I feel about the eyes in this one, but they're certainly better than the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would probably say maybe the eyes is the one thing that I've never really cared for with this suit, just because they're just so big, but it's because I'm so used to the sharp Raimi ones that's all I see when I think of Spider-Man.
Yeah. I think for me, because I like the Ultimate Comics, and the Ultimate Comics are the ones where his eyes are fucking massive, and like this is the movie where they most look like those. Yeah. So that's why I really like this.
But like I definitely prefer this to the first one, because like the first one just looked like he was trying to be hard. It's just like.
Yeah.
And I'd even say I probably prefer this one to the one from Civil War, like because the one in Civil War, like the CGI on it was just so weird.
Yeah.
Oh really? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Because I like the design of the Civil War suit, but the Civil War one, just the CGI of it is really weird.
Yeah, it's a little off-putting.
Yeah. It gets better in Homecoming, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, no, the suit was good. It's just the character behind it can die, as far as I'm concerned.
It's not good.
Terrible. I'm just trying to remember, is there anything else specifically that he did that didn't involve other characters?
Yeah, I want to save it for the other characters, because I've got some real good stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, talking about his Spider-Man scenes, like there was a lot of supposed humor in there that I just didn't care for at all.
Yeah.
I didn't laugh once at any of Spider-Man's jokes. They're just dumb.
Yeah, I
laughing at any of the jokes.
all I liked was the montage of him like when he's in the dairy and he's got a cold, and the guy's like, "Oh, you're Spider-Man, right?" And he goes, "I'm Spider-Man." That whole that whole montage was okay because it's actually Spider-Man doing Spider-Man shit. Whoa, you never would have guessed it in a Spider-Man film, because this isn't.
Yeah, but it doesn't match. It nowhere near matches the dairy scene from Homecoming.
No, it doesn't.
Because that was just brilliant.
That's actually like him, like, "Oh shit, are you okay? I'm the like local, neighborhood hero. I'm the neighborhood Spider-Man. Oh shit, the legitimate, you get the point."
Yes. The first time we'd actually seen Spider-Man like done well since 2004.
Yeah, damn.
There you go.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it was what was it like I mean, if you don't count Civil War, that's like a 13-year wait.
Yeah, fuck. It's been rough for us.
Yep. But yes, Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, the worst portrayal of this character I've ever seen. I don't know what the hell Sony were thinking. Just
money.
ridiculous.
Look at my profile picture.
Yeah. Stupid. Are we ready to move on to the next character?
Yes, please.
I mean, I'm sure we'll get back to Spider-Man again when talking about other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Gwen Stacy. We'll start with Anthony.
She's pretty. I don't even know. Like, she's like
dead.
sort of. Yeah, I don't know. It's really odd in this film because it's like, I'm breaking up with you, and you're like, oh shit, okay, and then but she's still there, and she's like in this film does this thing, right, where it's got like 7 different plot lines, but they're all okay. We likened it to Spider-Man 3, right, where that also had like probably not 7, maybe like a little bit less. That one, you'd go Sandman, and then you'd like take a break. Oh, he's knocked out or whatever. You'd go like Green Goblin, and then it's like, oh, he's doing other stuff. So it goes to like Eddie Brock, who's taking photos of Spider-Man. Oh, it's back to Spider-Man. Things were happening one at a time. In this movie, everything fucking happens at once, and it all has nothing to do with anything. Like nothing is related at all.
The only time that they actually separate anything is the final battle, because literally, if you didn't, like, the scene just wouldn't work.
Well, it isn't even. I don't know. It's just super odd, like the way Gwen is in here, but she's not. But she is when it's like, oh, I'm gonna break up with you, and then it's like, oh, I've been stalking you actually, and she's not even like you guys said, she's not even weirded out. She's like, oh yeah, you're stalking me, eh? Oh, nice. It's like
I think it's just disappointing.
Super creepy.
The most disappointing thing is that the scene where she dies could have been like a memorable moment, but because the whole, just everything else in the film building up to it is so terrible, the way it's written, you only feel a bit of like sadness for Spider-Man having to experience that, as opposed to actually feeling it yourself, and I feel like that's a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as well, it's like we said in was it Spider-Man 2 or 3, how it was justified how like MJ acted, because from her perspective, Peter's just like, oh, nah, see ya,
2. We were talking about 2.
Spider-Man 2, yeah. How her actions were kind of justified. It's funny because in this one, like, I want to say Gwen's actions are justified, and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to England, see ya. But it's just like out of left field, and you're like, what? What's going on?
I think they are justified to a point. It's when she starts. It's when she starts coming back to Peter that they're not.
Yeah. It's just like dude, you've already broken up like 7
Yeah.
times during
I feel
the
like
span of an hour. Like, please just.
I feel like the only real highlights of her character in this film are like the very start and the very end, and then that's it. The rest in the
Yeah.
middle is just a mess all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Because there's that speech she does at the start of the film where she's like, "Oh, life is precious," and it's like that.
Yeah.
Going into the film, I did know that she dies at the end because I was like, "How do you not know?" It's like everyone knows that.
Yeah.
And when she made that speech, I was like, "Oh, that makes sense that she's saying that because this is the one where she dies." That's like, you know.
Yeah.
But then watching the film, I was disappointed because she made so many terrible decisions that like could have been easily avoided.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think, Callum?
I was just so annoyed, if anything, because, like I said, I think she was the best part about The Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, and then she is in this awful romance plot, written so poorly, executed so poorly, and it's a real shame because I think Emma Stone is like the best part about these films, but she's in this terrible, terrible story with Pia. It's just awful. There's nothing else I can really go into detail with it other than it's just bad. The way, like you said, keep going back to each other. This whole, oh, we should be friends and stuff like that. Oh, you've been following me. Oh, I'm going to England. Oh, well, you can come with me. Oh, I'm dead. It's.
I hate that scene when I hate like because she just broke up with him, right?
Yeah.
And then the next time they see each other, maybe not the next time, but I think it's like they see each other again and they're like talking about it, and then Electro comes along and everything changes. But then the time after that, they just randomly bump into each other just out of nowhere, non-intentional, and then he just snogs her, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
That's kind of rape.
Well, he even says, he's like, "Oh, was I too soon?" And she's like, "Yeah, a bit too soon."
Like that is so opposite to the Peter Parker I know from like Sam Raimi films. Like he literally sacrificed getting what he wanted so that MJ would be able to live her life. Like he's literally saying like, "Oh yeah, I'll give up everything because I need to be Spider-Man." Whereas in this film, it's like the opposite. It's like he just can't let it go. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Irresponsible, creepy, stalking rapist.
Yeah, like the best scenes with Gwen in this film are the very start and, like you said, the very end. It's just so. Everything else in between is so poorly written and poorly executed. Like you said, with the scene where they meet up again after breaking up, and they do this whole goddamn thing with ground rules when they say "let's be friends." It's like,
oh no.
What is this? You're meant like you're saying you're meant to be friends, but you're doing this whole adorable, cutesy chemistry, like romance thing. It's like it makes no sense.
When you said that, I thought of like John Cena's House Rules. Fucking Anthony, you probably don't know this, but like when he was going out with Nikki Bella, he made her sign a contract for their relationship. Like a legal contract, and he's like, "There's house rules that you have to abide to."
Follow my house rules. Take your shoes off at the door. Salute America every time you come in.
Basically.
You must hustle and be loyal and have respect.
Oh my god!
Thank God Miss made fun of that though.
Oh yes.
Oh.
Yeah, the best part about that is that the Mez turned it into a storyline and like mocked him and like made videos like where he was parroting Cena off. It was
a shame that the match was shit and the proposal was shit. Like, I fucking had to watch that live, not at the actual arena, but
you know what's sad is like because all of us, we all knew how trash like the booking was at the time, and like because the WrestleMania crowd was like people like us who actually, have a brain. No offense to anyone, but like when the Miz came out, everyone cheered, and they were like at the Hall of Fame, they were cheering for him because they wanted him to just. They were so
Because
sick
Miz
of
is great.
because they realized
Miz
how
is great, though.
just retarded Cena was and how great Miz was for mocking him. And then on the network, like when it came out after, they edited it so that they booed him.
Oh, what?
Just ridiculous. Just the worst.
Yeah. But yeah, just like with bad romances between John Cena and Nikki Bella, this romance in this film is awful. It's just, it doesn't feel like that they broke up at all. But then they're like, "Oh, we're back together." It's like, but it didn't feel like at all that you broke up. You were just not talking.
Yeah, like if I was an interviewer for this film and I was doing we're doing the press junkie with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, you know, I would say to them, I'm like, "Oh yes, so in your guys' relationship, does Andrew like say, oh yes, I'm gonna follow you around everywhere you go?"
Yeah, they'd probably joke about it, be like, yeah, that's really funny, and like laugh, and you'd be like, I'm fully fucking serious. That's illegal, Andrew. That's fucking illegal. You're gonna go to jail.
And he's like, "Oh well, I'm Spider-Man. They won't catch me."
Yeah.
Everything that Jameson
Not
said about
anymore.
him in the first Spider-Man film was true. He's
And
a
in this
criminal.
film.
You
And in
you
this
sound
film.
like J. Jonah Jameson. Oh, one thing I'm glad they didn't do was J. Jonah, because they reference it in this film.
Oh, now the bit,
But they,
the most happiest moment I had in this film was when he got the email from Jameson and I read it in J.K. Simmons' voice. Because that means that technically it's still the same cast.
Yeah.
You just see him.
yeah. I think the same with the MCU with Homecoming. Pray to God they don't. If they do, they do relatively the same, or they get J.K. Simmons back. Who knows?
Yeah, it's the only option.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like that was the one moment I was like, oh, because he said wrong, and I read it in his voice. But yes, everything that Jameson said about Spider-Man in the first Spider-Man film about how he's an infamous criminal, and yeah, he was right in this context because he is.
In this universe, yeah.
Just the worst. So yeah, very disappointed with Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Yep.
What I will say though, when she does die, I will give credit to Andrew Garfield. His acting in that scene is very decent. It's not boring my head over and like, oh, I'll give this man an Oscar. It's a very good scene and it's very well acted, I would say. But it doesn't help that the scene and the film around it, though, is very poorly written. That doesn't make it feel like it's earned. It doesn't feel earned at all because of how poorly handled the romance was handled in this film.
Yep.
And it's a real shame because Emma Stone is great.
Also, it pissed me off because at the end of the first film, like it was her like wanting to be with him, and he's like, "Oh nah,"
Yeah.
and then he's like, "Oh yeah," but then they get to this film, and then she doesn't want to be with him again.
Yeah, but because like he brings up again like Captain Stacy's promise, like he brings it up again, and it annoys her.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Horrible.
Real shame because Emma Stone is really good.
Yeah. Should we move on to the next character?
Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh dear. I think I'll go first with the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Max Dillon, aka Electro, played by Jamie Foxx. Now I can't remember how many films I've seen Jamie Foxx in. I'm sure I have seen him in something else where I may have.
He's in Baby Driver.
Yeah.
Which is made
Django?
by and he's in I think he's in the Robin Hood film that just came out last year.
Oh right. Oh god,
And
that's not a. Oof.
No, that's not. But he's in one really great film. I haven't seen it, but everyone is like saying that it's great. Plus, it's made by Edgar Wright, so chances
Which
are
one's
it's
that?
great. Baby Driver.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm-
that's a good
I think
film.
I think I may have seen him in something, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But just pertaining to this film, I hated every scene with him in.
Oh right.
I would say he I disliked him more before he was Electro, but I didn't like him as Electro either.
Mm.
I thought Max Dillon was a very annoying character and just pointless
Yeah.
and completely out of nowhere. I was like watching it, I was like, I just felt like I jumped to a different film out of nowhere. But then he was in the elevator with Gwen Stacy. It's funny, both the films get an elevator scene with Gwen Stacy in this film. It's so weird.
There's two. There's two. Yeah, that's so odd.
But I was just like, what is this? And all of his comedic lines were terrible. I just was like, this is the most out of nowhere character I've ever seen. And then he becomes Electro, and it's just like, he looks cool, I guess, but one thing that I really didn't like about his scenes is how like they purposely made the music dubstep because he's Electro.
Yep.
It was so irritating.
There's the dubstep version of Itsy Bitsy Spider is so fucking stupid. I really don't like it. It just seems so.
Another thing, I really don't like how it was actually what is it, diegetic? Because in the final battle, they play that song and Spider-Man can hear it.
Yeah,
it's just dumb. Really,
I hate that song. I will say though, I do feel like that because Jamie Foxx at the time he's a well-known artist, based because in most of his songs he's seems like a very confident person, and I will say that he not exactly pulls off, but he gives a performance that I don't think is the worst in this film for me, but it is not great. But at least he has a look that is like, oh, okay, it's not out of nowhere, but it's still not great.
He definitely gives Electro an otherworldly feel. That is for sure.
Yeah, but
I just don't care. I was just like, this is stupid, really stupid. And he was pushed. And he was pushed to the sidelines as well.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, much like Sandman, he disappears. He basically disappears for.
It's like 40 minutes. It's like Sandman, but like the actual human character doesn't have the highlights that Sandman has.
No,
because like Sandman and Spider-Man 3, at least the performance is really good, and there's a couple of really nice scenes with him.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say the same for Electro. It was just again, it just felt like one of those Avi-Arad, like, I'll just put that character in there because money. Have Jamie Foxx in there because money. I suppose the visual effects team worked hard.
They worked hard, but I don't like the look. Just for me personally, I don't like the look.
They worked hard to not impress anyone.
Because the classic thing is that everyone says, "Oh, it doesn't look like his comic book version." It's like, I mean, he doesn't, but I also think this look is terrible. I don't like this design of Electro. Oh,
what does the actual design look like?
He's green and yellow is sort of his costume look in the comics.
Oh, really?
Like he has if you Google a picture of him, and you look at a costume, it's like night and day. It's completely different.
So like this one's literally he's just like electricity. That was what.
Well, this was a lot closer again to the Ultimate Comics Electro.
Yeah,
I believe.
Ultimate Comics.
Who is
yes,
just
like
completely blue.
Right.
But that the Ultimate Comics Electro character is absolutely different from this one.
Actually, there was one thing
that it's like night and day. So
it did remind me of something, just the way his eyes were like present. Callum, you've seen the scene where like the Fourth Doctor regenerates, right? And he like turns into this like white just ghost.
Yeah.
It looked like that.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Like the ghost is Peter Davison's face, but it's completely white.
But he looks, it's like it's Peter Davison, but he looks like an angel or something. It's very strange.
Yeah, it looks very strange. I've seen that scene. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just this film didn't need to have Electro in it. It was just cheap, nasty dubstep crap.
Mm-hmm.
But Anthony, did you like it? Are you gonna be contradictory?
No, I won't be. There's one scene in particular with this character that triggers me every single time. why did you have one scene in particular showing his tooth gap being fixed by electricity? It's something you didn't need to put, but they were like, yeah, let's put that in. That's a good idea. Why? How? Why and how? How would that work? Why did
It
you put it
doesn't
in?
make sense.
It doesn't.
Electric water fixes your teeth.
Oh, he's got a tooth gap. Oh, Electro doesn't have a tooth gap. Let's have the electricity fix it. Ah, money out of you.
They just didn't need a tooth gap at all in the first place.
No,
It seems
I think they made the character and then they're like, oh, Jamie Foxx still looks like a sexy black individual.
I mean, he doesn't. Even with the
Let's-
tooth gap,
let's
with
put
the
him
way he
with a
looks is very awkward in terms of like a nerd. So it still worked. They didn't need the teeth gap.
Yeah, it's just not. No.
Yeah, he just, to me, Electro just felt so supplemental to the film. He didn't feel part of it. He felt like his own individual thing, just interfering with it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not.
Callum, like the Time of Angels cliffhanger, how they had like Graham Norton pop up at the end of it? Like that's what it feels like. Do you know the one I'm talking about? Like there's like the famous story when it first broadcast, like when Matt Smith's holding the gun to the gravity thing. And like you see like Graham Norton's little face pop up because it's an ad for his TV show.
Oh no, I've never heard about that. No.
Oh yeah, well that's what Electra's like to this film.
Man, that would. I'm kind of glad I didn't see it as it broadcasted because that would have taken me right out of the moment.
Yeah, it was also
So
in Rose, like when the doctors first introduced in the Auton scene. Like you could hear Graham Norton speaking on a microphone because it was still plugged in.
Oh my god!
So he interfered and like he derailed both Russell and Steven's like first series.
Yeah, their most pitiful moments in their debut like series of both the Rise and the Doctor. That's
But yeah, Electro, yeah, he was just a thing that happened.
He was there.
It was very, like at the start when Spider-Man saves him and then he becomes like a delusional fucking mess. Again, why? Why'd you do that?
Yeah, there's more that I'll get onto, I guess, regarding him, but it'll be more to do with the other characters that he encounters.
Yeah, okay. I believe it or not, this isn't, in my opinion, the worst villain.
Well, it's not a particularly high bar.
No. I mean, in this movie, he's not the worst villain.
Shall we move on to the other one?
Yeah, let's do
If
that.
we must.
Oh boy, Harry Osborn, aka the Green Goblin. Well, Anthony, I think you should do the honors.
Okay. You had a first film, right? And it was set in Oscorp, the very company that him and his dad owns. You had no mention of Norman Osborn, no mention of Harry Osborn. This film, Norman Osborn dies, and Peter goes, "Oh yeah, I remember him. I knew him once. I'll go say hi." And they go and they talk like they've known each other for fucking years and years. And it's like, as a viewer, you're like, who the fuck's this? I don't know. You weren't in the first film. What the fuck? Also, the scene with Harry when they're in the park, that's like the worst. You hear Andrew Garfield's shitty little accent.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Oh my god. It's just like I feel as well.
He has the same haircut as emo Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
His accent, his Peter Parker in this film, his regular accent in this film is the accent that Tom Holland makes fun of when he's Spider-Man.
Yeah. And
He
when
makes-
he's saving them in the elevator, yeah, you're right.
That's the Peter Parker's regular accent in this film. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's I don't know, like, cause they try to like sell the point that him and Peter have been best friends, and like, number one, where was he in the fucking first film? No mention of him or his dad at all. while we're in Oscorp, you know. So it's like, oh, yep, no,
I
they don't
think they
exist.
they,
Oh,
they
wait, they do
mention
exist.
they mentioned Norman once, but they didn't mention Harry. It's just like it was a throwaway
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, I think it
Well,
was like
yes.
created by Norman Oscorp, blah blah blah, blah, and it's yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
As far as I'm concerned, Harry Osborn was killed by Venom, but with a stabby thing, because that
with
in
his
this
own
film,
glider. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like poetry.
yeah,
Um,
because this was not Harry Osborn at all.
No.
no, it gets really weird when he's just like, "Hey, you take pictures of Spider-Man. Give me his fucking number." And he's like,
Give me his
he
blood.
yeah, and it's like, whoa, man, what the fuck?
You
The
know,
fuck you doing
you know
with
what he,
this, yeah?
actually, you know what he kind of looked like in this film. He looked like if you combined emo Peter Parker with Joffrey and gave them methamphetamine for a week, a month,
Yeah,
or a
you're not
year.
wrong. I yeah,
Yeah, I can see that.
I think as well the main reason they put him in was like, oh, we need Gwen Stacy to die. Who does it in the comics? Oh, Green Goblin. They're like, Avi, Avi, we only have Electro, and like that's probably all we should put. Ah, money. Put Green Goblin as well. Why not? And then this happened. So, you know, it's just, yeah, it's not good. It's the worst.
And the fact that Norman gets like one scene.
Yeah, and
then he
he's like,
dies.
I'm sick, and so are you. With my disgusting fingernails. See ya. Yeah, it's just, and it's a shame because this was, I think, the second time I've seen Dane DeHaan, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I saw him in Chronicle. Yeah, I saw him in Chronicle 2 years before this film, and I really liked that film. And he's like the main character of that film. And I was like, he's a decent actor. That was a good film. I like that film. So when I heard he was Harry Osborn, I was like, oh shit, okay, it's that guy. Cool. No, he's shit.
No, he's just he's comically evil, but in the worst way. It's not entertaining like
Yeah,
Willem Dafoe
Mhm.
was or James
Yeah.
Franco. It was just.
I feel
Ugh.
like as soon as Electro's free, he turns into this goofy, unrealistic villain. Like as soon
Yeah.
as he frees Electro, the next scene after where he's interrogating this guy from Oscorp, he's just
Yeah,
he's whistling, he's making like
yeah.
"Welcome to the bonus round," shit like that. It's so. What the fuck is wrong with you?
And then once
You
he
turn.
And then
Yeah.
basically once and like that's bad enough, but then once he gets injected and becomes the Goblin, it's just stupid. It's the
Oh,
most
God.
cringe-worthy, like, oh, it's painful.
It's
It's
like so
it's
forced.
it's like some kid did like a cosplay of Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, but like it's just like just shut up.
But they couldn't afford the mask or the suit or the anything,
Yeah.
and they were
So
like,
they
I'll
just
just
took a
gel
whole
my hair back.
I'll just gel my hair back and take lots of drugs.
Yeah, it's just because I believe the like in canon reason why he looks like shit is because he's sick, right? But right before that, he was fine. It's when he fucking injects himself with that shit and then puts the fucking suit on. He looks like a crack addict. Looks like a 12-week long crack addict. And you're like, whoa, even the other characters, like when he shows up between Gwen and Peter, they look at him like, what the fuck? What has happened to you? You know, it's like they didn't, he didn't see them after he put the makeup on. He just went straight onto set, and they were all like, whoa, fuck, that's freaking me out, dude. I can't.
And there were definitely parts of his plot that felt cut. Like the whole
Yeah,
Oscorp plot was so rushed. Like,
yeah.
what was the point of Felicia? Like, what
Just
was the point of her character?
Yeah, no, they wanted to do a Black Cat movie, and she was. They were like, oh yeah, just chuck her in and have a main character of a later film, and then this one did shit, and Avi Arad was like, oh well, just reboot it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dane DeHaan is the worst Spider-Man villain we've seen ever so far. So far. I hope it's ever, because that's pretty bottom of the barrel acting and just
Yeah, and
everything.
that is something to be that like coming from you. You hated Venom in Spider-Man 3. So like coming from you, that's a big call.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think
I think the main reason is because at least Topher Grace's Eddie Brock served a purpose in the story.
well, I mean, in Spider-Man 3, with the whole tone of that film, it's very well. The Tobey Maguire films are like
Yeah.
superhero, but it's a little bit jokey, which is what Spider-Man is. You know, it's like aha, funny.
Yeah, I think I said Eddie Brock kind of felt like a Sam Raimi character, even if he wasn't like didn't feel like he should have been in the film. At least he kind of he fit the whole Sam Raimi thing. Whereas I just what what is this guy?
Yeah,
His voice is so deep as well. It's like so deep for how he looks because he looks very young.
Yeah,
And also, it feels so wrong that he's shorter than Peter Parker.
yeah, and I think in every other medium, Harry Osborn is taller.
Yeah,
And
like I
that's
feel
the
like
whole,
well, I mean, Tobey Maguire and James Franco is like that. That is how you do those characters in terms of their presentation.
well, the characters themselves, because Harry Osborn is a very kind of confident, like, oh, I'm a rich kid, you know, and Peter Parker is just like, you know, your standard kid from New York, but his parents are dead, obviously, so he's kind of got, like, he's obviously slouching and shit, and he's a bit shorter than Harry would be.
And also, like, I remember when I was nitpicking at James Franco's Harry Osborn, like I was talking about like how some of his character wasn't fleshed out enough in the films that he was in, but like compared to this, like that's nothing. Like compared to this, like this is just the entire character is so awful.
Yeah, it's pretty yuck.
I hate the whole plot with him and Electro, like when they team up as well. It's like worse than when it's worse than when Venom and Sandman team up.
For Spider-Man 3, the video game like does it better because it's like Venom's like, "Oh, I have your daughter hostage," so Sandman's like, "Oh,
yeah,
fuck."
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been great.
They don't even team up though. They like fight Spider-Man separately. Like,
yeah. Oh well. But Dane DeHaan, Harry Osborn is like, I feel like because we've had another Harry Osborn, and like even James Franco's Harry Osborn wasn't great, granted, but it was a lot better than this one was, you know.
Yeah.
But because James Franco's one wasn't great, I feel that makes this one even worse.
Yes.
Because it's like, against that, it's still shit.
At least James Franco's Osborn felt like a person.
Yeah.
Not like... yeah. I just felt like say they're brainstorming for what they're gonna do with this character. They just got a big pen and scribbled everywhere.
No, dude, I'm telling you that like, what would have happened, right? Is Avi Arad's like, oh, Gwen Stacy needs to die. How does she die in the comics? Oh, in the comics it's Green Goblin, but we haven't even we had a whole plotline with Oscorp and he wasn't there, so we probably shouldn't. No, put him in. Sell toys, sell video games, sell everything.
Yeah, and isn't it just so convenient that as soon as Electro is defeated, that he turns up?
Yeah, is that
yeah, it's like the boss battle.
Yeah,
beat him. You're like, there's the second stage. Fuck you.
God. Just the worst. Oh. I mean, there's a reason why when people want to bash this film, they use the Goblin as the thumbnail.
Because it represents the film. It's a mess of a mess.
Yeah.
Should we move on to another terrible element of this film?
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
Richard and Mary Parker.
Oh no.
This one's more like, I feel like, because you know Spider-Man 3 we were talking about like the retcon of Uncle Ben's death. Like this is this film's version of that. Like
Yeah.
where it's like, why would you do this?
Yeah.
Why would you do this?
What was the point of it, though? What purpose did it serve in this film? Because you can tell that they're planning for futures. Because I'm not sure if this is in the trivia, but I bet it will be. There is a deleted scene where Peter's father is still fucking alive.
Yeah.
And
I
he
saw that
turns
like
up.
4 years after seeing that, like last year, and I was like, what the fuck? This exists? What a stupid fucking idea.
And that means that they were planning to do a future film based around this plot. But why does it serve this film? It doesn't. That's the answer. It's so fucking awful. It's the first scene of the film, and then just what a complete waste of precious movie time. All those minutes, Peter trying to discover who his father was, could have been spent developing Harry or Electro. But
And
no.
also, I mean, I know technically this was like 2 years before Civil War, but like it just feels like a shit version of like Howard Stark and Tony. It just feels like the exact same thing.
When Peter is watching the video of his father explaining what actually is going on, I'm like, well, this is that version of that, but extremely shit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, they're trying to do this whole moment where it's like I care about my son when everyone's saying that I didn't, and even my son thinks that, but no, I do care for my son. It's that version of Iron Man 2, but this is written so poorly because it doesn't affect the plot in any way. With that in Iron Man 2, it literally affects the plot because then he develops a new like element or whatever.
Yeah.
In this, it doesn't do anything. What does it do? How does it help him defeat
Yeah, because his character just stays the same.
Yeah.
All
he does is learn something, but it doesn't affect the plot.
I said in the previous review that one of the things I have an issue with this duology is it over romanticizes the idea of his parents. And in this one, it's a lot more prevalent. Anyways,
Yeah, prevalent.
Because at least in the first film, it did to an extent give Uncle Ben a reason to be contentious with Peter. Whereas in this film, there's literally no reason for it to exist.
No, so in the comics, they've tried this shit before, where they're like, "Oh yeah, your parents were like spies, and that they were doing good." And the big plot twist is like only you could be Spider-Man. In the comics, this has never worked because the idea of Spider-Man is once you put on the mask, like we said in the last one, when that kid wears the mask and he's like, "Oh shit, I'm stronger now," and he climbs up the car. You throw in his parents and like, "Oh, only you can be Spider-Man because it's your dad's blood." It removes that whole aspect of like, yes, you're Spider-Man and you're Spider-Man and it's a global character. It's like, nope, it's only this one person. Everyone else can fuck off. And like you said, the plot goes nowhere because he finds that out and then he's like, "Oh, cool, okay." That's
Also,
that's
was there
that's
that bit?
all it does.
There was that bit where he said like he injected his own DNA into the spiders or something. So is it like, does Peter have like Richard Parker's DNA inside him, or what? What was the point of that?
No, so because he's his son, only he like, assumedly, if the spider bit anyone else, they'd turn them into meth addict Green Goblin. But that they'd give him cancer in the eye.
That is basically the exact same plot as Hulk.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because that's literally what happened. Like David Banner does the same thing.
Yeah.
And like, and even in 2008, it's the same thing with Abomination.
Yeah. So it's very just like, what the fuck? Okay, cool. And and it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's all we
And
had.
somehow,
That's all we had, really.
insanely, somehow this one is actually worse. Somehow.
Yeah.
The Hulk ones weren't great either. They were bad. But this one was even worse. Because it didn't even have a point.
There's literally no point to it. It doesn't affect the outcome of this film. It doesn't prevent Gwen from dying. It doesn't prevent Harrow from becoming the Green Goblin. It doesn't destroy Electro. It doesn't mean anything other than future films that could have been, but they don't exist, so it's pointless.
Yep. So it's gotten something that's gotten even worse with time.
Yeah, it's gotten way worse. This film is God. Honestly, horrible. This film is so much worse than Spider-Man 3 on every level. I cannot understand anyone who thinks that this film is better.
Yep.
Agreed.
And then, of course, we had Aunt May as well. And
she's okay.
I don't like the scene where she's thinks that Peter doesn't like care about her. Like, that just seems very far-fetched to me. It's just like, you know, when she says like Peter wants to know about his parents, right?
Yeah.
And then she says, she's like, no, but I'm your parent, and I'm like,
yeah.
Are you really that dumb? Like, of course he wants to know about his parents. Anyone who doesn't know their parents wants to know.
Yeah.
It's natural to be curious.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then just, and they had that little emotional moment, and then like within 1 second, it's back to not being emotional again. It's just like, okay, now let's tell you what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose they had that thing with her, like, having to do the medical lessons because of, obviously she has to pay the bills because Uncle Ben's not there.
Yeah.
But it's so underdeveloped.
There's a lot of little, like, quips with her, between her and Peter, and I fucking hate them now.
Yeah.
I actually never liked them, but like, now I fucking despise them.
That scene where she wants to do the laundry for him.
Yeah, and also when he's like in his room with his Spider-Man suit on, and his face is all fucking dusty. I fucking hate those.
Isn't me that like he was like signaling that he was having like a fap or something?
No, he was just saying that he was naked under the bed. Like,
right.
It's not great. It's not great.
I got confused because I saw like his hand move under the sheets. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those. All of them are like moments where you watch it, and like, if you were watching with your like 50-year-old mum, she'd go, ha ha ha, very funny, and you're like, that's not fucking funny, mum. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
I hate
humor.
how
That's
when she insists to do his laundry, he gets all shitty with her. Like, just the way he does it is just not who Peter Parker is at all.
Yeah.
Just like, fine then, I'll do my own laundry.
Laundry sheriff.
Yeah, she was better in the first one.
Oh, much better. How anybody even I don't get how people think that she's better than the first Aunt May from the Sam Raimi ones. I've
only ever seen people say that because they're like, "Oh, Aunt May from Raimi's an old woman," and it's like, yeah, but that's the character.
Point.
That's the character, though.
You know that reminds me.
She motivates Peter.
You know that's what
Spider-Man.
That, you know what that reminded me of? It's like when fucking fangirls say, "Oh, I don't like the first Doctor because he's old."
Yeah, but he's like thousands of.
I don't like the 12th Doctor because he's old.
Oh well, you see, fuck off. Get out of my fandom.
Like, you're stupid. Like, honestly, if the only thing you care about is like, oh, I want my actors to be young and attractive, like, I feel like that's the target audience for these films.
Go watch Twilight.
Go watch Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Go watch Amazing. Put yourself through pain and watch the second one too.
But that's the thing.
Just because you shouldn't be in my fucking fan.
I don't even think this film will be good for them because it's like a badly executed version of that kind of.
Well, that's the point though, because they have to fucking sit through shit, and then they're like, "That wasn't good," and I'm like, "Yeah, fuck you."
Yeah. But yeah, are we done with Aunt May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then there was a character called Donald Mencken. I don't remember who that was.
That's the guy who boots Harry out of the company. He's pretty one note. He's just like, I'm evil, and Oscorp is evil.
The whole
Harry.
This movie is just dumb.
Yeah, it is. Very silly.
Think about this. This film came out the same year as Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh well, this film was shit.
And those films are great, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, so no wonder they didn't want, like... Because, like, at the time, like, Andrew Garfield was like, I want this film to be in the same universe as that. And I'm like, no, you don't.
No. No, I think... I feel like nowadays Andrew Garfield is, well, like, in the situation of these movies, he was very much Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Where, like, the directors are like, here's our ideas, and he's like, but what if I did this? And they're like, no,
But
shut up.
I think it's even worse because I think he actually tries.
Yeah.
And he's actually quite talented. I can't say the same for Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely, yeah. I wouldn't, it wouldn't surprise me if secretly, like, under it all, he just kind of hates Sony for this.
No, he does. He's stated that it, like, when this movie came out and he watched it, it fucking broke his heart.
Mm.
Because he was like, I fucking love the character of Spider-Man, and it sucks that one of my movies is considered the worst one.
Yep. Yeah, but it's sometimes, it's the truth,
Yeah, well, that's Hollywood, I guess. Sometimes.
Yeah. But, there's nothing he could do about it. He was put in a position and he wasn't the one in charge.
No.
But yeah, Donald Mencken was forgettable. And like I said, the whole Oscorp plot was just pointless.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this movie was. It was like a whole bunch of pointless little plots.
Including...
that have been glued up together.
Especially Alexei Sitsevich, a.k.a. Rhino.
Oh, man.
So I suppose the whole point of his appearance was just for, like, Avi Arad's, like, Sinister Six thing.
Yeah.
Ah!
There's, like, a whole subplot at the end of this film after the funeral where I was like, this feels like the start of another film.
Yeah, it was. He was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the Sinister Six, and then Sony is like, no, stop, please stop this shit. You did it with Spider-Man 3, and it failed. You're gonna do it again. This one will fail too, and it did, and I'm very happy that it did. Anything he touches, he's like the opposite of Kim Midas. Anything he touches, it turns into shit.
Well, he's the opposite of J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
Even though they had to work together, which is crazy.
Oh, well. They had Sam Raimi in the middle, and he's like, don't worry, I'm a good middleman. I know what I'm doing with these characters. The Rhino, like the character, in the comics, he's great. In the video game, top tier. In this, I hate to say it, but he's shit again. All the villains are shit. Surprise.
I was embarrassed to watch it. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, it's... And
actually, when he appeared at the end of the film, I completely forgot that he was in the film.
Yeah.
One of the biggest... This movie has... because I said before, when the trailer came out, that shot, the final shot of him swinging the pothole at Rhino, was like a focal point in the trailer. And watching that, I was like, oh shit, we're getting Rhino. Finally! We're going to see Rhino. Oh, yes. And then Avi Arad's like, I'll wait for the Sinister Six. Oh, it's never going to happen, so don't worry about it. And it's like...
Again, this film ages badly.
Why would you even put him in if you don't have, like, he's not really there for a point. He's there to set up something else. It's the
Yeah.
same with Justice League, where they're like, just put Aquaman and the Flash and Cyborg and all of them in Batman vs Superman. It's like, no, just wait for the next one, please. Don't cram it all into this one. This has too
When
much.
I saw that scene, I was reminded of in The Incredibles when the Underminer appears. But the difference is with The Incredibles is that you were sad to see it over because you were like, oh, I wonder what happens next. And then the payoff,
with the Underminer,
payoff
they
is in the
stop it
second film
immediately.
when you actually get the conclusion to that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that with this film is that the whole thing was terrible, and I was just happy for it to be over.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real shame that our first live action Rhino was just fucking garbage.
Yeah, same can be said for Lizard and Electra.
Yeah.
And Venom.
Yep.
And I guess Sandman to an extent, but not that as bad as the others.
No.
The acting Sandman was
The acting was
decent.
good. The acting was good. Action scenes were good, and the CGI was good. It's just what they did with them.
Yeah,
Franco.
everything around it.
Ooh, but yeah. Fucking disaster. So yeah, what was the point of casting Felicity Jones for 2 scenes?
That was another. We're making another movie, and they never did.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was weird because I was like, it was weird to see her in this role because like everything else I'd ever seen her in before, I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no, why did they have to bring her into this?
Yeah.
But yeah. Bollocks. Any other characters we want to talk about?
No, I think you covered all the ones, honestly, and they're all pretty garbage. So there you go.
Obviously there was also Stan Lee's cameo.
Yeah, I don't.
That was
like
alright. I thought it was okay.
it.
It wasn't
I
as good
think
as
I
the
know
last
that
two.
guy. Oh no.
No,
I mean,
I don't
I
know.
would say
I just really don't like this one because the whole movie around it is garbage,
that's fair enough.
and for me that just sours everything. And
Yeah.
on top of that, it's a Spider-Man film, which I'm always like, yay, and then it's this one, and I'm like, Nope.
It is a bit sad that it's like Stan Lee endorsing this film. It's like he shouldn't.
Yeah,
Like
no,
they
no.
ruined Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think it's better than Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 cameos. That's the one thing that this film has over those ones.
Well, I feel like the Spider-Man 1 and 2 cameos weren't really cameos. They were just like, we'll have you in the story saving someone.
Right. But yeah. You know. Hey, I think I know that guy. But yeah, as like one of you said at the start of was it you, Callum, that said you can't even say what the plot was?
No, I can't. Like, I don't know what the main plot is of this film.
Yeah, there's no.
The main plot of this film is Gwen Stacy moving to England, but they're not.
And then dying, so that didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was very terrible.
Yeah. And it fatigues me talking about it.
Yeah.
Just
But I don't know what else to say to prove my point that I think this film is garbage.
well,
It belongs
I mean,
in a trash can.
one thing that was interesting to find was that the writers for this film were different to the first.
Oh well, what do you expect?
The writers for this film were Alex Kurtzman, Roberto Orsi, Jeff Pinker, and James Vanderbilt. So yeah, they had 4 writers, and it shows.
It shows, yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I'm going to say I think the dialogue is trash. I think the story is trash. I think the character development is trash. It's wrong-headed. It's bad, and there's little redeemable qualities to it. How about you?
Yeah,
What do you?
like,
do you agree?
Yeah, I'd say the only redeeming quality for me was the suit, but like even then,
That's
it's
not writing though.
yeah, it's just like, oh well, I don't. There's nothing in the story that like makes me go, yes, very nice. There's nothing at all.
It's just nasty. Oh, awful. Don't know how they thought it was a good idea to make Peter Parker a creep.
Heavy or red? What?
And of course, the fucking music video director Mark Webb came back for this one.
Oh well.
I hate the way this film is edited. It is awful. The way it's chopped together. It's so, especially the first half. It's so fast paced that I get like a headache when I was watching it.
There are scenes where dialogue is cut, but the actors are reacting to the cut dialogue, and you're kind of sitting there like, "What? What did he say?"
That was the same as, and also this film's direction. Like the blocking was similar to Thor: The Dark World, where like you were watching people far away, and I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
Like you know the scene in Dark World where Jane Foster and Thor meet up again, and it's very abrupt. Like there was a lot of scenes like that in this film, and I was just like, "Oh."
There's the scene where they're at the graduation, and it just like cuts to Gwen going, "All night long, you're gonna listen to it all night long," and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna hear your speech all night long." You're like, who the fuck cut and edited this shitty movie? And why did they do it so poorly? What the fuck is going on?
But also, like the first action scenes at the start of the film were just like it just made me feel sick. Watching it, I was like, oh, just overwhelmed by the amount of noise on screen. Like I was annoyed at how like just dark and miserable the first film was, but this one was just ugly. Just
it was right.
It had all the assets and technology to utilize, but the way it was executed felt wrong. And I think it comes down to the fact that it's made by a music video director.
Yeah.
And it's just it's horrendous. And that scene where like he's with Harry and he like steps over the railing, like that is burnt into my brain from seeing it in other videos. It's just so weird. Just terrible. Terrible direction.
Yeah, very.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh. So Mark Webb apparently. Oh, yeah, makes sense. He directed an episode of The Office, The Manager and the Salesman. I'm just rereading what episode that was. Yeah, it was a shit episode.
Oh, well, there you go then. To me, Mark Webb just comes across as a contractor and not like Sam Raimi was very clearly at the head of those films, and he was passionate about it. Whereas Mark Webb just feels like a contractor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And I just don't know why they decided to make it so just yuck. I hate the scene at graduation, like when, just before Gwen sees her family and she's with Peter, and he's wearing sunglasses, like not good. Ugly. Should we move on to the music?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, this one's an interesting one. I feel like my opinion on the music is going to be very similar to my opinion on the music from First Avenger, where the composer themselves are actually very good. It's just the choices that were made for what they did was what upset me. Because obviously this film is composed by Hans Zimmer and the Magnificent Six. Zimmer is one of the most famous composers.
He is good shit.
He has composed films like The Lion King, Muppet Treasure Island, Mission Impossible 2, The Road to El Dorado, Pearl Harbor, Hannibal, Pirates of the Caribbean, Shark Tale, Thunderbirds, Madagascar, Wallace and Gromit, The Dark Knight Trilogy, The Da Vinci Code, The Simpsons Movie, Kung Fu Panda, Sherlock Holmes, Inception, Megamind, Rango, Man of Steel, Interstellar, Batman v Superman, Hidden Figures, Blade Runner 2049, Dark Phoenix, and TV shows such as Planet Earth and The Crown. So he is very experienced, he is very famous, and I do think he is very talented. It's just, again, like Alan Silvestri in First Avenger, it's the direction of the music, what they decided to do with it that I didn't like. And it was really annoying. Like, I think the thing that I hated the most was not necessarily his score, but the production music that they put in this film. Like, the pop songs were just awful. And
they just don't fit either. It's like, oh, here's a fucking pop song, put it in.
Yeah. And then all of his dubstep during the electro action scenes just pissed me off.
Yeah.
I don't like Spider-Man films set to that music. It doesn't feel right.
No.
Yeah. Ugh. It felt like this film was trying too hard to be modern.
Yeah. It will.
That's what this film feels like.
And this is going to age terribly, like over time.
When you have media that's like made by people who aren't kind of hip and cool, and they attempt to make their media hip and cool, it's very noticeable. And like both of you said, it's going to age just really horribly.
Yeah, because the pop songs from this film aren't going to last.
No, they already haven't. They're already old as fucking shit now. I mean, arguably they were shit when they came out, but it's a different story.
Yeah. Like, Anthony, you know how we go to trivia night, and when it comes to the music section, it plays old music, but stuff that's like sort of memorable. Relevant and memorable. Whereas in like 20 years' time, if they do a quiz of this music, people are just gonna be like, "What song are you talking about?"
Yeah, what is this crap? Get it out of my ears.
My ear. Yeah. I feel bad because Hans Zimmer is very talented, but just, again, it just doesn't suit Spider-Man.
No.
And also because in other films he's done brilliant scores.
Yeah.
Like all the Christopher Nolan films that he's been in.
Yeah,
just
they're all
very good. I mean, obviously, The Lion King has a very iconic score too.
Yeah.
It's very memorable. And Pirates of the Caribbean as well.
Yes.
But just for some reason, this one was all wrong.
Yeah, it was just poorly handled.
Should we move on to the trivia?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go for it.
Okay. Emma Stone personally wrote Gwen's graduation speech. That makes sense because it was better than all of her other lines in the film.
Yeah.
Because she's actually talented.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually heartfelt and felt like she was a real person saying something that would make... And it's the only thing that actually contributes to her death letter in the film.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable how an actor can outdo a writer in
Four
writing.
writers.
Shailene Woodley was cast as Mary Jane Watson and even filmed scenes, but her role was cut from the film because the filmmakers felt there were too many characters and wanted to streamline the series.
Yeah, that's still...
That's when you thought there was too many characters? You thought at that point there was too many characters?
Yeah, to this day, that's still, like, debated whether they should have or shouldn't have. Which
I feel like it would have just been like Spider-Man 3 with Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, well, to which I say, why bother? It's already shit.
Yeah, I feel like, because there's people that want to see the director's cut of this film. It's like, I feel like that would just be worse.
No, I don't want to see anything like that.
I
never want to...
Like a 3-hour version of this film.
I would be happy to never see this film again.
Yeah, well, now that I've reviewed it, I don't think I'll ever have to. Also, I said on the Warriors of the Deep review that I was happy to never have to see it again. But the other night, I went on a Skype call with some other Doctor Who YouTubers, and we were watching a story from each Doctor, and they chose Warriors of the Deep, so I had to watch it again.
Oh, well. That's how it be sometimes.
God. Just horrendous.
Oh.
Bloody bastards. Now I don't have to watch it again.
Nice.
Felicity Jones's role was significantly cut down due to time constraints. In an interview, Jones stated that she would be an ally to Harry Osborn / Green Goblin, and at one point even let it slip that she was playing the Goblin's girlfriend. The small scene showing her alliance to Harry was in the final cut. The scenes that implied that there were romantic feelings between the two characters were cut from the film. Yep. This is the first Spider-Man film to be filmed entirely in New York, and is the largest film production ever in New York City.
What a waste of time.
Yeah.
The humorously hateful news boss J. Jonah Jameson, one of the most iconic characters in Spider-Man's mythos, was never mentioned in the first film, and in the sequel he is spoken of frequently but never appears. The producers claimed that they could not find an actor to measure up to J.K. Simmons' legendary portrayal of this character in Sam Raimi's films. Stan Lee, the writer who came up with the idea for these characters and makes a cameo appearance, has often said he would volunteer to play Jameson if he were 30 or 40 years younger.
And they never will find another actor who can fit the role that perfectly.
Yeah. That was actually one thing that they did execute well in this film, is that they because they couldn't cast J.K. Simmons, they just had him not appear, but they had his character in the background sending emails. Yeah. That was a smart move.
Yeah.
One of the only smart moves they made with this film. Like if
It was the only one.
If they really wanted to go for that, oh, we want people to think this is the worst film of all time, like that's one of the things they could have done. But just glad they didn't.
Word on film, you did one thing right.
Yes, by not having the best part about Spider-Man in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Let's give it a handy clap.
Black Panther has come to join us.
Oh, yo.
Right. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, while filming Peter and Gwen's first reunion after their breakup, Andrew Garfield's heel was run over by a taxi.
Ugh.
Ouch. My heel.
That would hurt.
Was the guy driving, like, did he do it on purpose? And he's like, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Hope the taxi driver gave him a ride to hospital. How would a taxi driver run over your heel? Would you have to be lying down?
No, I think his probably leg was extended back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not good.
Now this one's quite a long one, but it's quite an important one. The future of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise was widely reported to be incredibly confusing following this film's release. In the build-up of the film, and the few months after its release, it was confirmed that it would be followed by The Amazing Spider-Man 3 and a Sinister Six spin-off film, with Venom and an untitled female superheroine films, as well as The Amazing Spider-Man 4, also confirmed to be in the works. However, in August, Sony announced that the Sinister Six would take the place of Amazing Spider-Man 3, and the third in the trilogy would be pushed back to an unspecified date in 2018. Then, during a hack into Sony's email, it was revealed that much media coverage that Sony had approached Marvel Studios with a deal to share the rights of the franchise, of which Marvel refused. During this period of time, it was also revealed that Sony wished to fire Andrew Garfield due to his speaking out of the production studio and refusal to meet them for company events. After a lengthy silence, Sony and Marvel revealed on the 9th of February 2015 they would work together to produce a new Spider-Man series set in the MCU, and that the Amazing Spider-Man franchise was cancelled.
I wouldn't say we're in the best timeline, but we're definitely not in the worst timeline either.
So what does that mean? I didn't quite.
So, if we were in the worst timeline, that whole plan would have gone through, and we would have had Amazing Spider-Man 4 last year. But it didn't, so we're not on the worst timeline. But
we would have never gotten that moment in Infinity War.
Well, if we were in the best timeline, we wouldn't have gotten Amazing Spider-Man 2.
We would have gotten Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4.
Yeah. And then after that, like, Marvel's like, oh, can we put him in Avengers? And Sony's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, imagine if we got
the best timeline.
Imagine if we gotten 2 more Sam Raimi films and then Civil War.
Oh man.
And like Spider-Man 3 wasn't terrible, like with its handling of it.
Yeah.
It's all Avi Arad's fault.
Yeah. Disgusting mess of a person.
The thing is, though, is that Sony wouldn't have given up Spider-Man until it reached that point. That's the thing.
Yeah, until it reached the, like, it's starting to shit itself.
You had to have a film as bad as this one for them to do it. The dog that Gwen walks while Peter spies on her from a rooftop was adopted by Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone in 2013.
Oh.
So was it a stray dog?
Must have been.
Was it the dog that's next door to Callum?
What a plot twist.
Wasn't the dog barking during one of your Doctor Who videos?
No, it was a dog barking in the episode itself. That's why I made the joke about it.
All right.
Oh, nice.
When this Sony film was shown in theaters, a mid-credits teaser for Fox's X-Men Days of Future Past, produced by 20th Century Fox, was included. Director Mark Webb violated a contract with Fox to make a film for them after Amazing Spider-Man 1 in order to return to Sony for this franchise. Thus, Sony had to agree to promote Fox's X-Men movie for free. The scene, which was not included in the video release, is unusual for a mid-credit teaser, and that it has actual footage from the film it is promoting.
I did not know that, because I didn't stay for credits. Because when I saw it, I just left without a word.
Yeah, I feel bad for Fox, because there's probably a lot of people that didn't stay.
Yeah. Oh, well, they fucked it with Dark Phoenix, so... It's dead now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they fucked it a lot before that, so...
Yeah.
You
know,
know,
but
you
like
know,
they killed.
They've been messing with it since like 2006.
Yeah, but now they've like fully like destroyed it.
Oh well, MCU should pick them up.
I fucking hope so. Them and Fantastic Four, I pray. Please do it, Kevin Feige.
As was done with Captain America in the transition from First Avenger to the Avengers, Spider-Man's costume for this film is tailored to resemble his original costume from the comic books when the character was first introduced. After The Amazing Spider-Man was criticized by fans for its inaccurate costume, the wardrobe for this film includes the original color patterns for Spidey's hands and feet and the large white eyepieces, which had not been done in any major motion picture about Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's probably the only redeeming.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say it redeems it though. So
The thing is, all you need to do is look at the poster, and that's all you need to know.
yeah, and you'd be like, "Oh, that's a nice suit," and it's like, "Yeah, that's that."
And
yeah.
that's it. That's it.
Don't judge a
most
book by its
enjoyment
cover.
the most enjoyment you'll get out of this film is looking at the poster because of the suit.
Yeah, yeah.
God, imagine this film with Bad Jameson and the first movie's suit?
I'd rather
Worst film. It'd be the worst film of all time.
not. Pretty gross.
At 142 minutes, this is longer than any previous Spider-Man film. Yeah, this is long. This is the same length as Infinity War.
Fuck, what a mess.
It's the same length as Hulk 2003 as well.
It's your favorite, Callum.
The bridge with the webbed message, "I love you," was constructed fully digitally due to the bridge being covered with a tarp on the day of filming.
Well, I mean, what? They're actually gonna fucking, like, get ropes and, or whatever they would have, like, actually made it with.
Who knows?
Fucking Avi Rad's like, no, I have this plan. You get rubber and you just paint it white and you put it on the bridge. And then, like, Avi, the government does not want you touching their landmarks. You can't do that on the real bridge. Oh, but it's good for the movie. No, Avi, we can't touch the bridge, Avi. Don't even go near it.
Oh, we might make it out of venom.
Fucking hell.
God, imagine if this film had venom in it as well.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus. On a press tour, Andrew Garfield opened up to his views on the cancelled and controversy of this series. When asked about how he felt no longer being Spider-Man, he replied, "Well, nothing, because I never was Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man's a fictional character. He's not real. You know what's funny? To give you a vulnerable answer, I thought I was going to be Spider-Man, you know? I went in going, ego shit came in. It's like, okay, here it is. I'm fucking Spider-Man. I fucking made it. All that shit. I didn't actually make it. I was never Spider-Man. I was the actor that I am. The person that I am, struggling with trying to match up with something that I had elevated so high in my mind. Elevated beyond what I could attain, what I could achieve. The great thing is that's what Peter Parker was doing as well. Peter Parker created this symbol that he couldn't live up to. It was never enough. He never felt enough, and I never felt enough. And I wanted to, not to say that I needed to rescue those films. Yes, you did. But I couldn't make them as deep and soulful and life-giving as I could ever dream. And I'm never going to be able to do that with any film. It was especially difficult in that situation because, well, just because. And it was especially important because the character has always meant so much to me. He also revealed that he consistently pushed Sony to cross over the Spider-Man with the MCU.
He sounds super salty there. Like, he sounds so fucking
Because he cares
mad
about the
that-
character.
Yeah, but, like, because they're like, what does it mean to you? And he's like, oh, nothing. I was me. I wasn't Spider-Man. He
Yeah.
sounds super, like, fucking salty. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Well, I mean, like, imagine this, right? So you know how, like, when, sometimes when they interview actors who do certain roles. So, like, for example, David Tennant, like, as a kid, he's like, I always dreamed I was the Doctor, and then I was, and it was amazing. So, like,
Yeah.
imagine your entire childhood, all you want to do is be Spider-Man. And then you are, but you're the worst Spider-Man ever.
Yeah. It's like
You'd feel
it's like a
terrible.
monkey's paw deal where it's like, you can have what you want, but you get a cruel, ironic, like, twist in your wish.
Oh, dear. When Spider-Man comes out of the alleyway, the background behind him shows the moon and the cloud, which resembles Mysterio because the moon is the helmet and the cloud is his cape.
I didn't notice that at all.
Nah, neither.
Dane DeHaan plays Harry Osborn, who was previously played by James Franco. Both of these actors have also played James Dean. Interesting. The first Spider-Man film not to be released the same year as a Bourne film. This pattern began in 2002 with the release of both Spider-Man and the Bourne Identity, then Spider-Man 2 and the Bourne Supremacy, Spider-Man 3 and the Bourne Ultimatum, and then Amazing Spider-Man and Bourne Legacy. Director Mark Webb chose to shoot on 35mm film instead of digital red epic cameras. The original was shot with. While it is relatively common for the franchise films to shoot on film and transition to digital for sequels, as digital cinematography in 3D has become more commonplace, this is a rare example of a franchise switching to film after being shot on digital. I felt like with the first one, with the red cameras, it felt more like a video game.
Mm.
The scenes with him in the suit,
Yeah, whereas with this film, it just the CGI style and the film didn't mesh well.
No,
it didn't.
Like stuff that you shoot on film has to be styled a certain way. Like The Dark Knight, for example, is shot on film, and it really shows. Like it really suits it because it's a very, I would say it, even though obviously it's not, but like the way the films is styled, it feels gentlemanly. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's very.
It's not like noir, but it has a sort of tone to it that's very kind of on its own. It stands out. I mean,
like it's got that one. It's like film buffs love it because it has that style to it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is the opposite of that in every possible way.
Yeah. Just
So
everyone hates it.
So if someone came up to me when I was at film school and said, "Oh yeah, you know that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is shot on film," I'd be like, "Really?
Yeah.
Of all films, that one?" Anyway, Jane Levy and Kristen Stewart were both considered for the role of Mary Jane before the character was dropped from the story. God, that's it. Kristen Stewart as Mary Jane Watson. Oh.
I feel like as well, had they done like Kristen Stewart as Mary Jane, they were like, "Oh, let's not cut her. Let's keep her in there."
It's like at this point, like reading all this trivia, it's like this film's terrible, but like I'm grateful that it wasn't worse. I'm grateful that it wasn't like the worst film ever made.
I think it's fucking hilarious how much they had planned post this movie, like how confident they were in this one. I just think it's so funny, dude.
Eldon Ehrenreich, Brady Corbett, Eddie Redmayne, Sam Claflin, Douglas Booth, and Boyd Holbrook were considered to play Harry Osborn. Eddie Redmayne, that's an interesting choice.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're like him specifically. Like, that'd be really odd.
He's too like upbeat.
Yeah.
He like honestly, like even though I don't like those films, he was a good casting choice for Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he suits the character, you know.
He suits the character, but just the story around him.
Yeah, it's not great.
All right.
Yeah. I'm still yet to watch Crimes. I've watched the first one. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
So
Either.
I don't know how it.
I've
the
heard
first one was the first one was like had a couple of interesting moments, but the tone was very all over the place. It just felt too American.
Yeah.
I mean, they do literally go to America, but
it's like Harry Potter.
I hate things that aren't American become Americanized. If you get what the term I'm using.
Yeah.
Biggest example of that is Series 6. And
the
Series
TV
7.
movie. The TV movie.
And the TV movie as well. I hate it when it does something like it's not just because it's British and it goes American that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying anything that isn't American, but then they make it so American style.
They Americanize the shit out of it. Yeah.
Despise it.
My only argument with that would be the Office TV show.
But the difference is that it's a separate thing. Like it's not taking Ricky Gervais and making him American.
Yeah.
It's
like we can use that.
To be fair, though, when you think about it, like apart from maybe the first season, it's not even the same show.
No,
it's not.
It's so different.
Yeah.
But like when they take something that is British and they
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they don't change anything apart from the fact that they make it American, and that's just
Yeah, that's garbage.
oh
That's garbage television, garbage movies, garbage whatever. Don't do that ever.
because it takes away what makes it unique.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why Series 7 is literally the only series I actually despise. Like, I physically hate.
I heard a story the other night on the Skype call because I was on a Skype call with people that had met Rob Sherman, and apparently when him and his wife were watching Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, after it ended, his wife like slapped him and said, "If you ever write anything like that, we're getting divorced."
Good.
And apparently
Nice.
Rob Sherman like had a drink with Stephen Moffat, and apparently Moffat hates Series 7.
Oh well.
That's. I don't want to make this into a Series 7 rant, but I cannot understand anyone who thinks that Series 7 is good when the writer and showrunner of that series fucking hates it. I don't. Fuck Series 7. Fuck it.
Yep. Damn right. And I'd echo the same for Series 6, but we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
In an interview published on his website, James Horner revealed why he didn't return to write the music for this film. He didn't like how it turned out compared to the first one, and he called the movie terrible and dreadful, and he was ultimately replaced by Hans Zimmer.
Man, it's almost as if these films are fucking really terrible, and Sony knows it.
The host at Gwen and Peter's graduation managed to get the part after Andrew Garfield personally recommended the actor. Interesting. Though the film never received any Oscar nominations, why would it?
Why the fuck would it? Legit. Why?
It made the
Why would it get any
shortlist. It made the shortlist announced by the Academy for Best Achievement in Hair and Makeup.
I'm glad all their hair looked nice.
While the story was
No,
going
it didn't.
nowhere.
Green Goblin's hair was terrible.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's I'm being like fucking so sarcastic.
And Electro
when it comes
was
to
bald.
that.
Electro
was bald. So was Rhino.
And actually, I think Gwen's hair looked better in the first film.
Oh,
Yeah.
I loved her hair in the first film. I thought in this film it was okay.
She looked
thought it
more
looked-
like more like mature in this film, and it was a little bit off-putting.
Yeah,
I was like,
when they're
I
graduating.
suppose that's what they're going for, but like, she was very attractive in the first film.
Very, very attractive. And she still is attractive, but I prefer her in the first one.
Yeah, but maybe it's because in the first film she's close to our age, so maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, that's weird to think that this film was almost nominated for a fucking Oscar.
Jesus Christ. Why? Who? Like, who would you give it to? Out of
Well,
this film?
I mean, they said it was for the hair and makeup, but you know,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Still
almost
though.
as bad as when Brie Larson won Best Actress.
Well, I mean, is that a personal attack or something? No, my original point was she's not necessarily good, but she's okay in other films, right? Namely, the only one I've seen being Kong Skull Island. Because she nearly dies, so it's
Well,
like,
apparently
yes.
she's good. She's good in Room, but a lot of it has to do with the direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, screw that. Oh, now this one's interesting considering which channel this is on. Both Andrew Garfield and Felicity Jones have starred in Doctor Who. So obviously Andrew Garfield was in Daleks in Manhattan, and Felicity Jones was in The Unicorn and the Wasp. And she was the unicorn.
Yeah.
She was the one that was stealing, right?
Yeah.
Rhys Ifans, the villain of the preceding 4 films, of the first film, the Lizard, he was considered to play the 11th Doctor at one point. A role which eventually went to Garfield's close friend Matt Smith. That would have been weird to have him as the Doctor. The Lizard.
After David Tennant as well. Would have been like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. But then again, like, I felt that way about certain actors when they become the Doctor, and then, like, they surprise me, so...
Yeah, you like grow into them, I suppose.
Yeah, like, when Capaldi was first cast, I was like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well,
then I was
because
like,
it's after Matt Smith, and then like a super old actor,
Like-
you're like, fuck?
Yeah. When I first watched a few episodes of Capaldi, I was like, oh, I don't know how I like his acting style, but more and more I've grown into it, and then I'm
The
like,
funny
oh,
thing
wait,
is-
no, this guy is fucking great.
the
As
thing
an
is,
actor.
on my most recent rewatch, like, it was the other way around. I was just begging for Matt Smith to go, and then when Capaldi came out, I was like, yes! Yes! Because now I like him more, so it's just weird how things change.
Yeah, Capaldi's great.
Well, yeah, he's great when they let him be
Yeah,
great.
he's great when the writing allows him to be great.
Oh, well, you see.
He's great in series 8.
I had a whole debate on a Discord yesterday, and someone thought that their interpretation of Clara and 12 is there's quite a romantic thing, and I'm just like, what? There's
No,
nothing. There is literally
mixed
zero
read.
anything written to make them seem romantic at all. And they were like saying like, "Oh, just my own experience." I was like, I mean, okay, but there's literally no evidence in the writing to suggest that at all. Like in Deep Breath, he fucking says that, Clara, I'm not your boyfriend. So that cuts off any sort of romantic anything. I don't get their reason.
I mean, there is a scene in The Caretaker where he's like proud that he thinks that she's going out with a guy that looked like who he used to be, but then he finds out it's Danny Pink, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah.
I understand what they're saying because they have a very, what's the word? It's just very, I don't know, strong connection. But it's...
Yeah, I get that, but I objectively think there's nothing to suggest that at all. Like, if you ask Stephen Moffat, did you have any romantic intent with
It's not
the
like
12th Doctor
it's not
and
like
Clara?
it's not like
he
in
would say
series
no.
7. It's not like in series 7 when he spanks her.
Yeah,
And, like,
and
talk
Clara
about it.
says
Yeah.
literally that she fancies the Doctor in Time with the Doctor.
Mm.
There's nothing after that at all. There's like
He-
no evidence for it.
Like, people don't even... Like, this goes over people's head. He literally sexually assaults her in series 7.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
In front of her family.
Yep, and he's naked.
Yeah. Oh, series 7.
Oh, dear. The end credits tease at the cancelled spin-off film Sinister Six. The credits show the schematics of Dr. Octavius's tentacles, Rhino's armor, Vulture's wings, Kraven's logo, Green Goblin's glider, and Mysterio, or the Chameleon's mask. Oh yeah, what the hell happens to Goblin in this film?
He goes to an
He goes to
insane
jail.
asylum.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
He goes
Sorry, I
to jail
forgot.
and he's fine. He goes back
And
to sort of normal.
his hair goes back to normal as well.
Yeah. And he says it comes and goes, so it's like,
You're on drugs. That's what I mean. You're on drugs. You're in remission for drugs.
With the release of this film and its soundtrack, Danny Elfman and Hans Zimmer have now both composed music for Batman and Spider-Man films. Elfman doing Batman, Batman Returns, Spider-Man, and Spider-Man 2. Zimmer doing the Dark Knight trilogy and Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the only one of those that I would actually say is a bad film is Amazing Spider-Man 2.
yeah.
Because at least Batman Returns is something. I mean, it's got Danny DeVito as the Penguin, which is a bit weird, but you know, at least it's a movie, and Michael Keaton is all right. But you know,
Yeah.
Avi Arad.
Ah!
In the comics, Dr. Kafka was a woman rather than a man, as portrayed in the film.
Mhm.
It's like the opposite of what would happen now.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you see. I hated
again-
that character so
Again,
much as well.
this film ages badly, even if you're a feminist.
Mhm.
Like, there's no audience where this film ages well in.
There's one audience. His name is Avi Arad, and he's a shit person.
No, because this film ruined his business idea.
Oh, yeah, that's a
So
good point.
not even Avi Arad. Like, this film cancelled his Sinister Six.
Good. I hope all his future Sinister Six plans are also cancelled.
A rumor begun by a Latino review circulated that Sony wished to produce an Aunt May prequel to the film franchise.
Jesus Christ.
Sony has confirmed this idea was never in talks, however.
Okay. I was about to just fucking say, why? Why?
Jesus.
Avi Arad, what the fuck is wrong with you, you silly cunt?
Let's have Aunt May and Venom and
What would be the
Sandman.
point? What would be the point of it? What would happen?
Oh, she's old, and oh, there's a vulture now. But Spider-Man's not born yet.
Like,
so it
literally,
doesn't matter.
what would happen in a goddamn Aunt May prequel film in a Spider-Man universe? What would that actually do?
It'd be more pointless than a Han Solo prequel.
Oh,
At least with Han Solo, you get to learn a bit about his past. But with Aunt May, that's completely different because she's not a superhero. Like, she's just a person.
That'll
She's
be
a
like, you know,
character.
actually, that'd be like if it'd be like if the Avengers did like a prequel film for Maria Hill. Like, why would you do that?
It would be like if they did a prequel film for C-3PO. That's what it would be like.
Yeah, or like Pepper Potts.
Mm. I'm glad that wasn't true. But still, that actually annoys me.
Who's gonna go first for conclusion and rating?
I'll go first because mine's going to be quick and simple. This film was a mess. Its characters are a mess. Its plot is non-existent. It focuses too much on building the universe instead of trying to make a single film. This film is goddamn garbage. 2 out of 10.
So you give it the same rating as Captain Marvel.
Yep. Captain Marvel is shit and this is shit.
Are they on par, or can you think of what?
On par. On par.
Right.
Like,
You can't decide which one's worse.
No. They're both shit. Simple as.
All right, your turn, Anthony.
yeah.
With in mind that you gave the first Amazing Spider-Man a 2, didn't you?
This-
Now, is it gonna be on par with Jake's version of Game of Thrones season 8? That's what I'm wondering. Because that's the lowest so far on the channel.
This film, it raised fans of Spider-Man up, and that was even before release, and we were so ready. And then it released, and that's when nothing happened. Shit didn't hit the fan because there was nothing to throw shit about in the first place, except to throw it at the director, Mark Webb, the idiot that he is. Oh, I'll direct a movie, a music video. Oh, I can do movies because I've done a music video before. Fucking idiot. The characters are not the characters. Spider-Man isn't Spider-Man. He's some dude, with nice hair, and he's pretty, well known, he's well liked and popular and this and that. Electro has a tooth gap that's fixed. Why? Why did you add that? Why would you do that? Just it's the camera zooms in on his teeth. Oh, they're fixed. It's great. Rhino is a stereotypical Russian gangster who Spider-Man lets him kill people on the road, so that's great too. Green Goblin is a crack addict. Had to put that one in there too. Green Goblin, don't forget him. He's a crack addict. Gwen Stacy, Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy is like, oh, my boyfriend stalks me after we've broken up. That's cool. He's hot, so it's fine. It takes like, it doesn't even take from the comics. Only the death of Gwen Stacy, which is just done really poorly, and the suit. Okay, the suit. You got me good there, because the suit was probably the only redeeming thing about this. Unfortunately, that's it. Just the suit. It's no, like, nothing that lasts. It's just the suit. The editing is just garbage. Like, it's a garbage. Oh my god, I can't. It gives me great joy that this was the end of this run, because it was just fucking shit. This is the reason for all my hate for Avi Arad. He's a fucking idiot. He thought he's like, build the universe, build the universe, build the universe. They're like, Avi, what about the main characters? No, universe, more important. No, it isn't, you fucking dumb shit. 0.1 out of 10, you piece of fucking crap.
0.1!
Just for the suit, that's the 0.1.
We have a new record.
Mm-hmm. I think that might be the lowest we'll ever get. Maybe, but I'm not. I'm thinking there might be one thing, and Connor might know, but I'm thinking there's only one thing that could probably beat that. But I don't think that'll be beaten for a while.
We'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah.
There's a few things that Adam may give a 0, but I don't know.
It's funny how a 0.5 has already been broken within like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll tell Jake that his hatred for Game of Thrones is nothing compared to Anthony's hatred for Avi Arad.
No, because it's like this character who everyone's like, yes, I know Spider-Man, great dude, and it's like Avi Arad's like, oh shit, all over your ideals. He's a fucking horrible person, kills people, and everyone's an idiot, and we just build the world that never gets explored ever again because we made no money.
Fuck. Jesus Christ. Okay, so Amazing Spider-Man 2 is one of the worst superhero films I've ever seen. Probably one of the worst. Like, maybe not. I mean, okay, obviously there's films that are garbage from the start and everything about them are terrible. But what this film does is it takes my favorite superhero from the Marvel universe and just completely ruins it in every way possible. Yeah. It is terrible. What would did I say? What did I mention anything I liked about the film?
No,
because I don't even like this. Honestly, I don't even like the suit that much. Like, not even as much
the
as
eyes. If you don't like the eyes of the suit too much,
no, I don't even like the eyes.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard. I'm just trying to think things I liked. Suppose the visual effects artists worked hard. Just like Dark World, which is a much better film than this.
Yes, it is.
Somehow.
Even though I said it was, like a 4? It's better than this.
Yeah. Jesus. Oh, I mean, the first scene with Gwen and the last shot of Gwen, I liked. But the only reason that exists is, number one, Emma Stone wrote the damn script. And two, Andrew Garfield actually acted well when she died.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And then most of the suit I like better than the first Amazing Spider-Man film. There were things that they could have added into this film in the director's cut that would have made it worse, so at least they didn't do that. So there was some decisions made that weren't The music was badly directed, but at least it was composed by someone with talent. Fucking hell. Oh, I'm really forgetting, like, if there's anything I even like.
There isn't. Pro tip: there isn't. There's nothing. It's shit.
I'm more angry at Hellbent, so I'll give this film a 1.5 because Hellbent makes me angrier. So how about that? That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That is the lowest score I've given for anything on this channel. I gave Captain Marvel and Warriors of the Deep a 2. I gave this a 1.5. Atrocious. Just terrible. Oh, absolute rubbish. I guess I've kind of spoiled what my Hellbent score might be, but you already know.
Well, we all know that you hate it. There's a whole literary series based upon your hatred for it, so...
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, did you see my comment on your latest video, Kellen?
Yes, I did.
And have you actually seen Earthshock yet?
No.
No.
The actual... I've ordered the DVD and it comes tomorrow.
Oh, really? You're watching it on DVD?
Yeah, it's not on Amazon Prime. All the stories I've seen so far have been on Amazon Prime.
Is there any way you can watch the DVD without looking at the cover or the disc or the menu?
Probably not.
Oh, okay. Oh well.
Oh well.
Not much you can do about that.
Nah, no. So I'm not blind waving. It's all set up for me, so I don't get spoiled on it. I have to do it all myself.
That's what I did for Jake. I've got everything digital. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I make him look away from episode titles.
Yeah. Fucking episode.
That's smart. Yeah, you do that for me as well.
And next time trailers too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just end the fucking thing when it comes up.
But yeah, 1.5 out of 10 for Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
An absolute travesty of the worst kind. I'm so happy that in Civil War he got saved. This man Spider-Man got just destroyed over the last few films.
The last 3 films have slowly declined in just Spider-Man characteristics.
Yeah, they're pretty garbage. It's pretty garbage at this point.
Again, like you said, I don't understand how anyone can like this film more than Spider-Man 3.
If you like this film, even say, oh, it's on par with Spider-Man 3, I think you're wrong. I generally think you're wrong. Like,
it's a fact that they're wrong.
Worse.
Even if you think it's just a little bit worse, I still think you're wrong.
Yeah. Like
if you think Spider-Man 3 is anything worse than Amazing Spider-Man 2, you are wrong.
Because at least with Spider-Man 3, you could tell that there was an actual message they were trying to send.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I guess the only way I could possibly see it is that if someone thought that Spider-Man 3 was more of a letdown because of what came before, because literally with this film, everything before it was shit anyway.
Yeah, but this is like a bigger shit.
Yeah.
It's like your dog took a shit and then you went,
I'll
take a shit on top of that.
It destroys the things that were actually okay in the first film.
Yeah.
It destroys them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But next time it'll be
next on the menu.
Well, next time, obviously because we've already reviewed Civil War, and we've already reviewed Homecoming.
Yeah.
And Infinity War, and Endgame. So the next one is going to be Venom.
Oh, very good. Very nice.
Which I haven't seen yet.
I haven't seen either, so that'll be interesting.
Oh, really? Neither of you seen it? Okay.
No.
Interesting. This will be fun.
Yeah, basically the next 3, I feel like it's good because it's hopefully going to pick up again. Because it's
hopefully
it's obviously Venom came out 4 years after this one.
Yeah.
So Venom, and then after that will be Into the Spider-Verse, another one I haven't seen. And then after that will obviously be Far From Home when it comes out in theaters.
Yeah.
So that's what's coming up for this series. but the live action Sony Spider-Man films, we have finished them. And I think, based on our ratings, I think we all have the same ranking for them as well.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just AS2, AS1, Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man 2 at the top. And I think a lot of people are like that, unless they're idiots and they prefer Amazing Spider-Man to Spider-Man 3.
Disgusting.
These two films have just... I cannot understand anybody who thinks these are better than all three of the other films. I just don't see why, because at least and even three, there are elements about them that make sense and are entertaining and have a message to them. Like even Spider-Man 3 has an element of entertainment to it that you can enjoy.
I think there's probably someone out there that thinks that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is better than Spider-Man 2.
Well, you're allowed to be wrong.
That, like, with that, you are objectively wrong because of how both are handled and written and how much of a mess one is over the other. Spider-Man 2 is literally... It's not just a good Spider-Man film, it's a fantastic film. It is a great film. It's not just talking about Spider-Man, what makes a good Spider-Man film. The film itself is so carefully written, carefully handled, and is so clear in its messaging. Makes it a fantastic film, not just a fantastic Spider-Man film.
Yeah, really well said there. Yeah,
I do not understand anybody who thinks it's not the best. You can think, like, you can say you think Spider-Man 1 is the best, and that's fine because it's how you prefer how a film is made. But for me, Spider-Man 2 literally is everything that makes Spider-Man great. It just is, and Sam Raimi knew that, and he put all these eggs into the basket and made a fantastic omelette with it. Like, it's a fantastic
And then in Spider-Man
film.
3, that omelette got dropped on the floor.
Yeah, but it's still edible. It's still edible.
You can eat that part.
You remember what I'm talking about, right? The scene where they drop the omelette.
Yep. But at least that's still edible because there's a bit still on the pan.
Yeah.
But then you have these two films.
Amazing Spider-Man 1 is just like a generic fried egg.
Yeah.
And then Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a raw egg with shell in it.
Yeah. Like it's like the fake eggs. It's like the fake eggs from Batman and Superman. That Henry Cavill was like trying to cook, but they're clearly fake because this film is just a fake of a Spider-Man film.
It's not even a good bad film. Like the first one,
not.
Because the first one had we're gonna target it at the teenagers that like to see romance, and it's like, oh, I got that. This one's not even a good version of that.
No,
it's just like, for
that audience.
Yeah, this film isn't even It's So Bad It's Good like Spider-Man 3.
I was watching it, I was like, this screams of straight to DVD.
Yeah.
It's like WW Studios make this.
Felt like it.
And the sad thing is, this is worse than some of those films.
Because, again, with those films, you could probably have a fun time with them. Because they're probably just so bad they're good. This one isn't. It's an insult to Spider-Man as a character and as a franchise.
Bad.
Yes.
But we never have to watch it again, so that's a good thing.
Yes, I'm glad. I'm so glad we're done with this.
I never wanted to watch it before this, but because we're doing a series, I thought actually we might as well do it. But now that it's out the way, never again.
Never again.
This is Spider-Man's Hellbent.
And I'm pretty sure that concludes my Aviarad rant. My 3-week long.
He's still around. He's still around for a bit because obviously he has his heart. But he doesn't completely destroy everything like he does here.
I think you'll see next week when we get to it.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know when we review it next week too.
Okay. But the peak of his destruction is over. The last 3 films.
That's what I'm so glad about. It's done. we've gone through.
It's like with like Spider-Man 3, AS1 and AS2 was like series 6 to 9 and then we're about to hit series 10 where Avirad's still there, but it's actually not bad. Because there's no more Clara. Anyway, what was I going to say? I don't know.
Nice.
Anything else we want to get in there? Oh, why don't you guys plug your channels?
Yeah. You can go first, Anthony.
Yeah. A channel for ants. I do funny stuff. But I have some reviews on there too. Check me out. It's pretty fun.
Oh yeah, you did a tier list for the MCU villains.
I did. Yeah, that was my first video. Pretty good one. Go give that one a watch.
Controversial ranking of Helmut Zemo.
Oh well. Yes.
I haven't seen it, so I'd probably be pretty annoyed. But because I love Zemo. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you don't put him low, but you know.
No, yeah, I kind of put him. I think I did A or B tier.
You did B tier.
That's fine.
No. But I was like, no,
Yeah.
he's S tier.
Yeah, I get you. But I still think B tier.
He's not Thanos tier though.
No.
Definitely not
That's
Thanos
its own
tier.
thing. That's its own thing. It's 2018 Thanos.
But you were right. You were right putting Malekith at F tier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like I'm evil. That's my motivation. I think I said that.
Well, what did Christopher Eccleston say? Like every question he got asked, he's like, "Oh, vengeance."
Vengeance.
Yeah.
Vengeance.
What's your character? Why is he got a evil? Why is he evil against Thor? Vengeance.
Callum,
Yeah.
your
Right. If you're obviously watching Genesis of Androzani, you love Doctor Who, clearly. And I am currently doing Doctor Who Classic reactions. So if you're loving Classic Who or want to learn more about Classic Who, you can watch my reactions. So far, I've watched The Enemy of the World, Silver Nemesis, and The Mark of the Rani. So if you enjoy those or hate them...
And you'll be watching
And-
Earthshock soon.
next up is Earthshock, which should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. So I'm very looking forward to that. So if you do love those kind of things, go check out my channel. It's really fun. I have a fun time. Except for Silver Nemesis, because fuck Silver Nemesis.
Funnily enough, a Classic Who story you've seen that I haven't.
Yeah, that'll be, again, I think I mentioned this to you. That'll be interesting where Connor and Adam, when they get to it, you can compare it to my review of it and see, who prefers it? Do they both think it's shit or do they think it's good? I don't know. We'll have to see when they get to it.
Well, I mean, Adam has seen it.
Oh, has he seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he loves the Cyberman. Yeah. But yeah, it's...
Again,
Ooh.
it's. I think it's one of those ones where it's like, yeah, we love Spider-Man, so we watched this film.
Exactly. It is one of the... Yep. That's the same. It's like... Oh. Yeah.
It's especially worse when you put in perspective that it's the 25th anniversary story.
Mm-hmm. I learned that after I watched it, and I was looking up it during my review. I was like, wait, this is the fucking 25th anniversary. Why? How? What a mess.
Especially coming off like you had like the 3 Doctors and the 5 Doctors, and then you had that.
Yeah, like that is it's night and day in terms of
And
quality
especially because Remembrance of the Daleks was in the same season, and everyone's like, no, that's the 25th anniversary.
Yeah,
Fuck Silver Nemesis.
yeah. That's why I said at the end of my review, fuck Silver Nemesis.
Yeah. So yeah, with that out the way, did you actually say the name of your channel?
Editron.
Yeah, that's the one. Right. So without anything else to say, I guess we should end the video.
Yep.
Yeah. God, a moth flew into my mouth.
And that's Spider-Man 2.
Way to
It's
end.
just on your face, and it's fucking awful.
It's Abiarad. He's transformed into a moth.
Oh well.
We will see you guys next time for Venom, starring Tom Hardy, right? Not
Yeah.
Topher Grace.
Not Topher Grace.
Get him out of here.
He's already out.